Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. Welcome back to sessions on Kids Can Learn Financials. This is part 2 and last part for the topic. Can middle class become rich? Why not? How do I teach my kids? Let us do an interesting exercise to start with for this part 2. Let us check out whether you are rich, middle class, or poor financially. And before we get into the details, let's do a quick recap of the four building blocks that you see on the screen on the right hand side, which are your income, assets. So assets feeds into income, and then you have expense and liabilities feeds into the expense. So in this slide, the way we will understand this is, let's assume that your expenses are a bucket full of water. So you need a bucket full of water to meet your expenses. And let's say the tank that you see here, the tank is the source to meet your expenses, right? So if your assets are enough to generate enough water and fill the water tank and then have some, then you're rich. Okay, I'll again call out. We are talking about assets here. So assets are, you have accumulated enough assets, so they are generating enough water supply so that you can fill the water and then you have some more, so then you are rich. Or other way you can say is, say your expenses are $10 and you have enough assets to generate 10 or more dollars, then you are rich. Let's take a second scenario. So in this case, okay, your total income, which is your assets, which we saw if you are rich, okay, plus your typical source of income, which is your salary or profit from your business, when they come together, still they do not suffice to fill the bucket of water. It will be somewhere around half or little more around that. Okay, in that case, you are poor. Or let's take it another way, right? So we said that your total expense are $10, but your total of your income, which is salary or your business profit plus whatever is generated from your asset, still doesn't meet that $10 need, right? So for example, say your assets are generating only $2, your income is only say $3 to $4, so you're able to meet only $5 to $6. So this is an example where you are poor. The third scenario is, again, in this case you have enough income source, which is a total of the amount or water generated from your assets plus your typical source of income, which is salary or profits from the business, which suffices to fill the bucket of water, right? So you have enough income to meet the expenses. In this example, again, if your expense is $10, your total income is around $10 or little more or little less. So you're very close to that. In that case, you are a middle class person. A keynote here at the bottom, right? So if you look at this, if you have understood this example, right? So what you would realize is that even if you have $1 million as your salary or income, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're rich. You may still be poor financially. Give it a thought. Now that we have seen whether we are rich, poor, or middle class, assuming that we are, say, middle class, let's see what is the path to become rich. Again, a call out here. The journey from middle class to rich is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It takes time. So now let's look at this table which has the various parameters or details as to how we can become rich. The first point is IIC is increase income, control your expenses. If your expense box is bigger than your income box, it's a sure short way to become poor, not rich. As we also talked in part 1, optional expenses are okay, but you should have surplus. Otherwise, it will further add to your problem. Second point, increase your assets, decrease your liabilities. So the asset box that you see on the top, that should increase regularly. It may be a small amount. How much, it doesn't matter really, but we should have a practice of making sure that we increase it regularly. Similarly, we should reduce the liability, right? If there may be some liability which we cannot say remove, it is necessary. In that case, decrease the impact of the liability, right? For example, if you want to buy a toy, right, you don't have to go and buy $100 toy, right? You can go and buy a $20 toy. So that way, decreasing the expenses or liability also helps. Third important point, save. Every small saving matters. As you would have heard, every penny saved is penny earned. So saving is important. Look around yourself for the various opportunities to save, right? Just don't go and buy something at the first price you see it, right? Look around, right? Bargain, see and try to get things at the least price. Then little advanced things, typically most of the governments provide various tax saving options, right? Which you can explore and try to save the amount which you're ending up as an expense. Then invest. Good investment is important. It's key to increase your assets column. And assets column increase in size is key to become rich. Without that, you cannot become rich. Investing is good, but again, that needs a lot of practice, as we said, right? Don't go overboard. Okay, don't take too much risk. Or what may happen is you, instead of adding to the assets, you may lose your existing assets. So you have to be careful. So again, that's a little more advanced concept, but you have to balance how you invest, right? You need to have some mix of low risk, high risk, medium risk. We'll talk more about the investment options in the next slide. And the most key point, learn, learn, and learn. Use as many sources as you get your hands to learn. Read good books, attend good seminars, read newspaper, talk to experts, try whatever avenue you can and learn. Be a good listener, that's important to learn. But don't take things off face value, use your own mind. God has given us a very powerful tool, which is this mind. Use it. Okay, take the inputs, but use your own mind. Otherwise, again, you will be an average person. If it was so easy, everybody will be rich. There are basically three types of investment. There are low income investments, and so the risk is also low there. Okay, so initially you should have this as a bigger part of your assets, right? Otherwise, you will end up depreciating or reducing your assets. So these are typically secure investments with assured incomes like your bank accounts, your fixed deposits. Say you have some house which you have put on rent. Those are your low income, low risk with this assured income avenues. Then you have medium income investments. Again, here first learn what are the options and start small. Chances of having a loss is relatively low for the medium income instruments, and it may also help save some tax based on the government rules for a particular country. So some of the typical examples of a medium income investments are, say, your mutual funds, and typically governments roll out various schemes. The last bucket is the high income investment. Again, high income you cannot do without consulting with your parents. High income give high gains, and it can also give high loss. So don't do any guesswork. Guesswork just doesn't work. If you do guesswork, you're sure to make losses. Do your homework, invest based on facts. Little bit of speculation is unavoidable. There is no perfect science here, but it should be mostly the data work. Good knowledge and analysis is really important. And this some of typical examples are, say, your stock market trading, financing some individuals or enterprises and all. So these fall into high risk instruments with high returns and probably high loss also. So you have to be careful. So while we have to balance our types of investment, what I believe is in the long run, investing in some portions in the high income instruments is also important. And one of the key instruments available there is the stock market trading. One of the frequent questions is stock market trading gambling? The answer is no. It's not gambling. But unfortunately, what happens is people don't trade. They do guesswork or they speculate. They do not invest. They don't do the required homework. Maybe they will go by some hearsay or some news going on and not do enough homework. Such people may make temporary profits, but eventually they will make loss. So it is important for you to realize, is this your cup of tea? Invest in stock market only if it is your cup of tea, which needs a lot of self-discipline, detailed homework, continued tracking. So these are some of the base requirements of making money out of stock market trading. Otherwise, it's not your cup of tea. Also very important, you should have the stomach for loss. Stock market is very unpredictable. Whatever analysis you do, you can be sure that you will make some losses, even if you are very, very good. There will always be some factors which you cannot just think about, which just happens on the fly. Some news comes and the stock drops. So you need to expect some loss. The key is that you should be overall winner. So if you make some losses, but overall you're making gain, it's good enough.
So, I would like to summarize what I understood from this video. So, the answer to your question, can middle class become rich, is with proper financial knowledge and guidance, yes, they can. If your question is how, then the answer is simple. Just takes a lot of learning, practice, and patience. These three factors are crucial to master. If you master these factors, it is very easy to accumulate your assets and reduce your liabilities and therefore become rich. Or just go with the saying, practice makes man perfect. So I would like to present some key points in front of you. The first point is to become rich. It's very crucial to increase your income producing assets, not liabilities. This is a very common mistake between middle class people. Many people in the middle class are becoming poorer because they buy liabilities which they think are assets. This increases their expenses and does not increase their income. And the net result is more expenses. And that is why they're always in the catch up mode to increase their income to their salary or their business. So in the second note, I would like to take an example. Your car is not an asset, it's a liability. This is a very important note. People take loans from banks, which is another liability, and use the money taken from the loan to buy an expensive car. And if your question is why, then the answer is because they think that the car is an asset. They say that if I sell it, then I'll get money, so it's an asset. But this adds expenses, not their incomes. Also, the car value depreciates and leads to a loss in their money. Let's say that even if they want to sell the car, they will get less money than they had invested at first. So, this doesn't mean that you should not buy a car or do expenses. The trick is to buy without adding a liability, which is most commonly a loan. You should increase your assets which have enough generation of income to catch up with your car's expenses. If not, then wait until that happens. Do not buy a car before that, or else it will be a burden on your head. And just before ending this video, one very important note. Please like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.